So I'm just here working on my blog right now, and I'm using this tool that I found a while ago called LLM. It allows me to hook up my ChatGPT account into my terminal command line, so I can type in my prompts directly in my terminal. So I'm just going to give you a quick overview. I'm not going to get too in depth with it, but just kind of show you some of the essential cool features about it that I like as I'm working on my blog. Just to give you a quick intro. So the tool is called LLM, and I can ask it to show me the different models that are available with it. So there's a variety of models here. The 4.0 is very popular right now, right? So I can query it and say, use the 4.0 model, and I'll ask a question of, how do I create a new post in Hugo? I'm going to capture that output too and just stick it into a text file. So you can see here, just responds directly into the terminal, so I can get the answer. I didn't need to go to the website. And then I can try a different model. There's a very good model called ChatGPT Instruct, which is actually, it gives less output, which is what I like about it. So it's more concise information. Instruct. And then from there, we can have a look at the two different versions here. So here's the Instruct and here's the 4.0. Lines long, right? And over here it says to create the new post in Hugo, you can run this command, Hugo new, and then the name of the title, and it'll create it, right? And it just gives you these quick short steps. And then the other version, the 4.0, is much more verbose, right? It's telling me about installing Hugo. First you need to install Hugo, then you need to set up the site, then you can create the new post, create the new site. It's giving all of these detailed instructions to create the post. So I didn't want all of that detail. I just wanted the quick, concise answer, which is nice using the instruct model. The other neat feature with the LLM tool is you can create templates. So typically when you're prompting, you might need to specify, okay, as a Hugo blogger or Hugo expert, how do you delete a post? How do you create a post? Or if you're using WordPress, you'll say, how do you create a post in WordPress? So using templates, you don't need to keep specifying that first part, the boilerplate. You can just go straight into the question, but then specify the template to use. So over here, for example, I have a few templates that I've configured. I was just playing around with the tool before, and one of them here I created. It's called dev, and so here I've said let's create the prompt, and this information will be sent to ChatGPT when I ask the question. So it's saying answer the following question as a technology expert, and then it takes an input. So there's two variables there, tech and input. So I can fill those in that template and pass in those parameters. So I'm going to say LLM. I'm going to say use the dev template, and I'm going to say the parameter tech variable. Stick in the word Hugo in there. So now when I submit this question, how do I create a post? It's going to already provide that first part. Answer as an expert in Hugo. Right, and I can replace this Hugo with whatever I want, right? WordPress or whatever other blogging engine I want. I can say Squarespace. So whatever technology I want. And so instead of me typing in all of this every time, there's a few particular tools that I use on a regular basis. I'm using Vim regularly, Hugo regularly, I'm coding in Java. And so I just created some aliases, right? So if I go over here, you can see I just created these few aliases. And so what I can do is I can just say LLM Hugo, and then I can ask my question, right? How do I create a post? How do I create a post? And it'll answer the question, which is pretty cool because now if I'm over here, for example, and I ask that question, LLM Hugo, how do I create a post. It will use the alias to then pass those parameters into that template, and it'll answer me the question directly. So if I come up here, I can see the answer. And so I can use the alias I created to use the dev template and pass in that Hugo parameter. And I can say, how do I create a new post? And so it tells you right here that you can use Hugo new content and then whatever you want to call it. So I can try that here like so. I can say Hugo new posts, my cool post. Just created the file now, so I can go and I can have a look at it. Content posts, my cool post over here. All right, so it's already created the file, and then I can add some text. This is my new post. Hi there. I hope you enjoy this post. Now, if I wanted to make a change, for example, if I wanted to capitalize this whole line, I've also created an alias here for Vim, right? LLM Vim, and I can ask the question, as a Vim expert, how do I capitalize a line? A line. And so it tells me here that to capitalize a line, I use the G capital U command. So if I highlight this, I can do G capital U, and it'll capitalize a line. So if I want to ask a different question, for example, what is the markdown code to add an image into my Hugo post, I can ask that right here. I can say LLM Hugo, what is the markdown code to add an image into my post? And so it tells me right here, I can either add in the HTML directly, or I can use this kind of markdown here, providing the alt text as well, and then the image URL. So it's a pretty cool tool. Like I don't need to be pulling up the browser and going back and forth. I can just ask the question directly in here, and I can specify whatever additional aliases I want. So I can just ask the question directly. And so it's a pretty cool tool, something you might want to try yourself. If you have any more questions, you can ask me about this and I can help you set that up.